Camera. Let's share recording monitor. Check, check. Hey, Nathan Lively with Sound Design Live. Let's talk about some of the helpful macros that I created for the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus Out of This World tour. Okay, so from right to left, got save session. I use this one all the time. Just hit it to update the current session. I use previous and next. These are all QLab controls, so I can go up a Q, down a Q, and hit go if I need to. And then panic is also for QLab. Just if I accidentally start the wrong Q or something, I can just stop everything there. It's not super important, but I use it in case I'm going to leave the console on overnight. I think it's nice to dim all of the lights. So each of the buttons has an off and an on status so that you can use the same button to do opposite commands. This brings up the chat window, so I can come over here. I can select the other console and send something to them. And this is really important in case for some reason comm isn't working or I can't hear comm or something's going on. They can always pop up a chat on my screen. So this opens and closes the chat screen. This is just kind of a joke because I was getting not a lot, but occasionally I would get production notes that you had the wrong mix for this song. So I thought it would be helpful to have a button where in case I'm in the wrong mix, I can just flip over to the right mix. Blast on is a macro that I created for basically just 2 or 3 moments in the show where it's the end of the song and we are holding for applause, and I basically just want a tail of reverb that goes out longer. So when I hit this, it unmutes that channel, it bumps it up, and it also bumps up the entire music channel as well. So I can show you that right now. I don't know if you can see these channels over here on this page. It's the end of the song, and I just hit blast on, pops up. Oh, and I made all the lights dim, so it would be obvious that I had it on, and I hit blast off before we go into the next song, and it brings the fader back down. And it mutes. It actually brings up the effects channels a little bit louder, so I just get a little bit more out of it as well. And then I go into the next snapshot, and it mutes everything, it resets everything. And then the last macro that I have is for unmuting the vocal effect. And that's just so I don't have to switch to another bank over here. I can just leave the same banks open all the time. But there's sometimes when one of our main actors is just talking, so I want the vocal effects muted. And there's sometimes when he's singing and I want them open. And I control most of that with the snapshots, but there are times in the middle of the number where he'll switch to talking, and so I'll just want to mute those effects, and then I can bring him back when he starts singing again. So let's talk about how I actually made those. Go to Setup Macros, and let's just do a test here. So we'll create a new macro. We'll call it, let's just mute the music channel just for fun. So we'll mute. And if you put a comma, that'll put the words on a new line on the button. Music. I'll go to another bank. I'll go to an empty bank, and I'll add this macro here in the very end. I can give it a color. So red is good. So this will be mute music. And when I hit mute music, what I want to happen is this channel to get muted. And so the way I'm going to do that is super simple, I'll just hit capture, mute this channel, and then turn off capture. And I can do that to as many things as I want to make a macro do a bunch of different controls. So I might want to also fade this down to here, and I might want to fade this up to there, and I might want to change an effect setting or something like that. So with each of those, I can just hit capture, or I can do it all from here. So it has all these options for things you might want to add to the macro. Now, if this is unmuted, Now, when I fire this macro, it mutes that channel. And then it doesn't do anything. Okay. Now, what if I want to mute this channel and then unmute it when I hit it a second time? So I'll make that the on command, close that, and then I will duplicate that one, and I'll call this one, what did I call the first one? Mute music, so I'll call this one unmute music. So the off action is already selected, because that's what I want. I want to give it a different color, green color, and instead of mute on, it's going to be mute off. And now let's see if that worked. So mute, unmute. Yep. Oh, except they're backwards. So the quick way to fix this is to just change this one to on, close, editor, change this one to off. Now let's try it. Mute, unmute, mute, unmute. Okay. So that's how you create macros on the SD5, and you can get really creative with them.